So, shall we begin? Do you remember your first project and the emotions which went with it? The anxiety, the little mistakes, the learnings.
First, I was working with CCBA and I was working on CNDCM project of Dr. Gudman Toswal at Kondwa. And it was like there were 4 or 5 options done and I was not on that project. And the client kept on asking Christopher, like, how will the wind come? Each meeting, it was the only question. So he got frustrated and drew some angular lines and said, if you do this kind of a thing, wind will come. So this sketch later, he threw in a dustbin. I just liked it, I picked it up. And I said, can I work on this project? And then this got approved. So the emotions were quite high because it was something like which was kind of thrown into dustbin and I picked it up and the building is built. So it was kind of streets between the buildings and it was a nice experience. But meanwhile, the client in one of the meetings when I was there asked him like, Christopher won't do any interior. So he asked like, my son-in-law wants to get a homeopathy clinic done. Both the daughter and son-in-law are homeopathy doctors. So he said, Christopher said, yes, of course I know a very good gentleman who can do this for you. And he's standing next to you. And during that time, I was almost thinking of going back to Baramati and settling, So if that project wouldn't have happened, probably I wouldn't have been in Pune. So now when we started the work, it was a very tight space, 10 feet by 40 feet. And I was, by the time, annoyed with these angular lines. So I thought I'll go with the curves. So that is how the journey began. Immediately after those curves, it's something like I like to do is like, I keep on continuing with one particular thing till I'm not tired of it. So the second project again was a oval cabin and client, I don't know, maybe some vendor from, I think Rajesh Bhandari or Oswal, he told that this is the architect and the client came and I said, I won't come to Talode to do such a small cabin, So he kept on insisting like, I'm very keen and you please come and all that. And one day I said, why this guy's come thrice. So I went to drop him out. Then I saw his Prado. I said, okay, I'll work for you. And he kept on insisting something different each time. So I gave him a very ambitious drawing. Okay, this is the curved table and the water will flow and the fish will be there in that and all that. And he was very happy and later his dad completely scolded him. This is not possible and all. But then these guys are Rajasthanis. So I thought, okay, I'll introduce. I told him one day, okay, we'll put a sand, desert sand. And I don't want Jaisalmer sand. I want Jodhpur sand, which is white. And let's put it and we'll have a glass thing about it and we will have a fantastic. And he agreed. And I thought he will again next day get scolded and it will also get rejected. But that didn't happen. He directly called me and he said, sir, truck aa gaya hai, sand aa gaya hai. And now that was a big problem for me. I didn't know the issues with the sand and all. Now still it is almost many years. It is still there. The cabin is still there. There are a lot of insects, they move. And then later we realized there is a condensation and then we introduce a small fans, CPU fans and all those things. So these were kind of things where you work with a lot of discipline and then you want to break away. So it all happened during transformation when I was still with Christopher and then I moved into my own practice. So this continued.
Sunil, sir, same question.
Actually, my first project I did when I was a student. So my friend's brother-in-law wanted to build a house and he said, Sunil, I have gone through 2-3 designs from different architects, but I still liked yours and I want to build it. Are you confident of building this? I said, yes, I will definitely do that because I'm from construction background. My father was a building contractor, so I knew a lot about construction. I learned architecture later on after joining. I said, yes, we'll do that. And we started that house when I was in fourth year. And it was completed before I graduated. And that was really, I was really proud about it. And it was appreciated. But there was one unfortunate incident that my client was a doctor who passed away in an accident before it was completed. And I couldn't really get that admiration from him, which I was expecting. But that house, I know it was really it's a big satisfaction and my pride.
Thank you for sharing. Sandeep sir?
Myself, Ganesh and Subhash, we had decided in college that we'll be practicing together. So when we passed out, actually, it was a very funny situation. We were trying our best to get some jobs. One of my friend was recently getting married, and it was a very like a bedroom had to be done. A small bedroom interior had to be done. So I still remember, and I have still kept the 3D of that bedroom and hand-drawn 3D. My 3D things were polished at Hari sir's office because that was the way I learned how to look at drawings at his office. And we used to always start with a 3D about the space, how to look at it. And simultaneously working on a bungalow project. So those were very different times. And as we were moving ahead, somebody had to take the risk and challenge. So I parted from the office, and due to these 2 or 3 projects, we 3 of us decided that the fees are not actually justifying the returns. So the 2 salaries used to be distributed, like Ganesh and Subhash used to work, and then the 2 salaries used to be distributed between 3 of us when we really started. So it was a very, very humble beginning for us, to be very honest.
Very touching, and thank you so much candidly for sharing this. Ravi sir?
Yeah, when we graduated in 77, it was very tough time for us because at that time this Joshi Abhyankar Hatyakand was going on and all those culprits were from our college. And our students could not get any accommodation hostel. Even we are not getting office space also. They were just okay. And which college? Abhinav? No, there is no office. So I started from my house. My partner Limay started from his house. So that was the starting of our office. And also getting jobs were very difficult because of that Joshi Abhyankar. And my first 5 projects I got never built. The 6th project was a builder's project in the Gauthan area. So there only 1 elevation, 3 And so it was our first big project, my builder's first project, my RCC designer's first project, my site engineer's first project, and centering contractor's first project. So all we were new in that thing. So there was nobody to point out our mistakes because everybody was learning that. Yeah, and the feeling was after 5 miscarriages, the 6th child got, that was the feeling for us.
Yeah, you're free to clap anytime, anything that is in your heart. We'll start with Sunil sir, the second question. So what according to you is the hardest aspect of being an architect?
See, yeah. So architecture, we know that architecture is the mother of all arts. But it's unlike other arts, like, where there is no dependency, like a painting, you can just, you completely do it yourself. Here, you have to get your creativity done by a team. And the best thing is that you should have, before doing anything, before designing any creative thing, you have to be confident that this can be built. Like, you should have knowledge of everything, that how structures stand, how much of cantilever will stand there. And these are the real aspects, which we have to look into.
Absolutely. Deepak sir, same question.
My father-in-law asked me once, or rather he told me a story, like there's a business school and there's a lecture happening. The professor asked all of the, just as the way you asked the question, what is the most important thing in a profession? So all the toppers stood up one by one and they said dedication. Somebody said creativity and blah blah blah. He said wrong. Each answer it was all wrong. He said the most important thing in a profession is the recovery of your fees. So I mean, but this is something like it's common to whether you are a youngster or a very seasoned architect or experience. It goes the same way to everybody. So this was on a lighter note. That's it.
Okay. Sandeep sir?
It's more like a teamwork, and we had the advantage of being a team from day one. So the first hardest aspect was convincing each other, and in that convincing each other, we used to always come up with 3 options for the client. So the best way was whenever we had anything, as a client also, when he used to approach us, so there used to be an inbuilt competition between us. So 3 options are going to go, because we never used to conclude on one way to look at it. So it always generates 3 ideas.
Ravi sir?
The hardest thing is convincing your client, not only him, his wife also, his daughter, his 8-year-old son also. That is what I experienced. Because architecture is not filtered to the layman. What is I experience abroad, that common man is very much aware of architecture. He know Frank Lloyd Wright, he know whatever been all this. We were traveling to while I'm Rahim, and there was one teacher, and she was our guide appointed, because I have corresponded and say they will give you a guide, because in that Vitra Museum and other, there are 7-8 architects, and she was very well conversant with the style of each and every architect. And after the end, I asked her, what you are doing? You are an architect? No, I am a primary teacher. I was shocked. She was knowing more than us about the architect. So that sort of thing is not here. So you have to convince, because they can't visualize. That is the thing. Now this SketchUp and but I used to sketch in front of them, and they could understand that. And so client's wife, as I said, because Corbusier also said that the first enemy of architect is client's wife. That was he said. So Corbusier also facing the same thing. Then who am I? Na? But Frank Lloyd Wright was very clever. He married to the client's wife. But that is not possible for everybody. So
Don't take it seriously.
yes, you should not start thinking that way then.
So there's one question, Ravi sir, I'll come back to you, which I get tempted to ask in every interview. Rest all questions I never repeat, but this one question I feel, because the answers are unique and there's so much of taking away for everyone from this. So what's that one dogma or one doctrine which you never break on site in your profession?
I don't send my assistant or anybody on site. I go personally, because that is the one thing, and that's what client like. When we are in hospital, we always like that the main doctor come and see you. That the thing, that the feeling with the. So wherever the project is, in Jalna or Jalgaon or Goa, or I personally go. I don't send, and that is the thing I am doing all the time.
Sandeep sir, same question. One golden rule which you never break at site.
Definitely, as a rule, I would say yes. I do agree with Ravi sir that we all, whatever, try to visualize on the paper, and as the project goes on in the building stage, that's the best way to connect about how it is shaping up, and are the things really going according to the way you have thought on the drawing board. Like, I would like to share one very famous thing about this line. Like, when we really started drawing on the board, or as an idea when it comes, you cannot measure the feeling or the expression of the space. Then you convert it into a measurable format, that is a drawing. Like, you give the dimensions, and then it gets converted into the space when it is actually built up. So the process of this immeasurable to measurable to immeasurable is a journey one would always like to relate in the project and as it is happening, because there is something that you have conceived when you were on the board, and that satisfaction of that, whatever thing is it going according to what your thought process is the best way that you can connect with the space. Like, whatever language, whatever grammar you have wanted in the drawing, is it really giving the same notes that you had expected? So, yeah, very true. Yes, you have to be on the side as the project goes up, in spite of wherever it is.
Sunil sir, one rule which you never break?
Right from the day one of my practice, one rule that we never broken is that on site, we had printed site visit reports and we give instructions in writing. And I tell my team also, we never allow only oral instructions. They have to be given in writing, and we take signature of the client or his representative or the contractor, because when he signs, he understands the responsibility of executing that. So that one rule we have never broken, and we still insist on that.
Superb. Deepak sir?
For me, I really get put down. I really get upset with unclean site. So I always, before going, I generally tell, like, it has to be clean and I need to see things. Otherwise, they just stack things anywhere. Then, of course, there are line and level and basic things. Not much to say. It goes with the, tempo at site. Yes, that's it.
Okay. Sandeep sir, a bit intense question. Does your confidence take a beating when your clients don't approve your design first up, or keep suggesting changes, keep making changes at this stage of your profession, at this stage of your career? Or it's just routine for you now?
No, definitely. As we move ahead in this journey, there are all types of experiences that come. Some come with full trust, and they are quite clear about whatever will happen. Once the discussion is over, they are convinced the project will go through as it is. Sometimes, like you have rightly put, a situation comes where things keep on changing on the board in spite of our convincing. It is a very subtle thing. Like, in a design, only one person can be convinced. Either you have to convince him, or he has to convince the change why he wants it. So if the dialogue goes where you have understood that there is something that is still missing in my understanding his requirement, then definitely I have to take a step back. Because in this journey I have learned that intelligence can only lead to arguments. If I try to be intelligent, the arguments will increase. But wisdom will give you the solutions. So I think so in this journey, the right balance between the intelligence of whatever I think or we think I have gained in this practice is equivalent to the wisdom that has been gained. And in the process, the change cannot be just because he wants it. Of course, if it is completely creating a chaotic situation, and if still I'm not able to convince it, then I have to leave the project. Because it happens. But otherwise, if the change is genuine, and with due respect that yes, this was somewhere overlooked, and it has to be a part of the drawing. So definitely, it is the right balance between the intelligence and the wisdom that has to be always. It always plays a very important role in the practice.
Thank you. Ravi sir?
While the designing work is going on, I always tell my client that your requirement suggestions should be requirement or whatever you want, not whatever you like. It should not be design suggestions. That is what I am going to do after you say something. And I try to convince them 3-4 times. If they are not convinced, I start to agreeing them. Okay, they said, I want red color here. Yes, go on, very nice. Why? What will happen if I paint green? Yes, go on, very nice. Then he got confused. He said that for everything I suggest, you are saying good, good, good. What is that? Tell me now. Then he come to me. Now tell me your solution. That is what I am doing, but you are not getting convinced. So Corbusier always
I'm
said.
going to clap.
Corbusier always said that your opinion should be at second place, not first place. Because if it is first place, then they will strike it out. But it is on second place, you can strike there first. So that is things happen, even not at the sketch design stage, but also nearing completion also. Because I have designed one bungalow in Solapur. And it was on stilts, so there were 2 staircases. One is service staircase, which was straight thing at the rear side, and one at the entrance with double height and with 2 flights. And the first flight was straight. The second coming down, I designed as a ghat thing and steps to sit, larger steps, and then the water body was there, fountain was there. The client, it was only brickwork and RCC at that time, but the client's wife was not happy with that. This is not good. I want staircase like that, straight staircase. I said, okay. First thing what I said, that they are always, curious or about fees. Okay. All the time. Everybody is facing that thing. So I said that now, henceforth, you don't pay me a single rupee. Okay. And do whatever I had designed. That is my fee. So the husband said, जाऊ दे ना, ते म्हणतात तर करून टाकू ना. मी म्हटलं ठीक आहे, म्हटलं आता ह्याच्या पुढे फी द्यायची नाही. ओके, ठीक आहे. And then it was got built, and before the inauguration or the housewarming, the wife called me. Said, what? No, our kitty group was sitting here on this ghat, and we started the fountains, and everybody was very happy. And they said that, आपला रोजचा अड्डा आता इथंच. I said that, दुसऱ्यांचं सांगू नका. Are you happy with this design? कारण लेडीजना दुसऱ्यांनी ती साडी चांगली म्हटल्याशिवाय त्यांना आवडत नसते, असं एक असतं. So she said, नाही, yes, I liked, and I was not visualizing at that time. And it is very nice, what you have done is very nice. And then I went for the housewarming. After having lunch, I said, okay, thank you very much, I am going. No, wait. What? Not. नाही, तुमचे पैसे द्यायचे. नाही. No, I don't want my fee because we have constructed, and that was our deal. No. Then he gave me a packet. I have not opened that, came to the house, and then opened. Last rupee it was, they were there, 1,50,735. They have not struck the 35, they have not struck the 700. So that was the experience, and that is how we learn. So you always deal, you said, no fees henceforth. That is, then they are, they are not expecting such things. No? So that is one thing happened.
Deepak sir?
So I look at it in 2 aspects. The first was in my early days, where you are very emotional about the design and you said, yes, done it, it's like done. And then all of a sudden, the first reaction, you're expecting like they will say, wow, beautiful and all that. And so sometimes we jump on to conclusions, sometimes clients does that. In early days, it was more like client saying no and I immediately saying no. This is good, like over the period you mature, and then the second aspect comes is like you listen to them. It's more of counseling, go a little slowly and things like that. So I have always been saying to my all the clients since ages, like since I have started, we will argue, but not misunderstand. As long as all the arguments head towards the good end result, I will understand you. I'll not bring in my ego, and generally I don't get into that. So every time at Christopher's office also, or in my practice, your first design you always love. But I learned those 6 rules of stages of designing in some book I read. So there is one stage after designing you do is a incubation period. That incubation period you are actually not working on a drawing board, but it's more of the thing is upon your mind. And slowly you realize like there's so many lacunas and you can do much better. So clients suggest, I look at them not changing my design, but I always we have more options ready with us, and sometimes we have a deadline and we present something to them. So that time when the suggestions come, it is like welcome, like, okay, we will do it for you, because I know that I have not been happy about it. Sometimes there are good designs. With maturity, I have learned it like give itself a time. So listen to them carefully and then go slowly and then again convince them very politely. That is what I do, although I'm not such a polite person. So I look at it as an opportunity to, because we're always hungry, okay, naya kya niklega or kya hoga. Of course in time, but some decisions taken and we have went ahead, and to all of a sudden changing one particular material or one particular style, that is something I put my foot down, absolutely down. Then there is nothing called like listening or anything. But I also tell clients like, okay, I cannot make you happy every time, each time. If you want to be happy at the end of the project, I cannot, sometimes you will get disappointed. But at the end, if we start changing things from day one, each time, little, you just lose your way out, So that is something definitely like they do listen. With the new degrees that have come, PhD in Pinterest and Instagram, it's become difficult. So, but yes, okay. As sir said, right from 8 years to the grandma to everybody is involved.
So you're not happy with the influx of Pinterest and all these things. It disturbs you?
See, when something nice is shown, it definitely makes me happy and think about it. We take it as a positive thing, okay. They have some standard, But they go to Rajasthan, they say Rajasthani room chahiye. Then they go to Morocco, they say Moroccan room in the same house. We had such clients, and so somewhere they have lost a direction, they don't know what they want. So it's our duty as an architect to explain to them. And when we start a project, we do a mood board of inspirational images or some things, then we try to take a clue from that. And then all of a sudden you realize that somebody wants to build something which is not our style, or I don't find a relevance in the terms of it's in our country and what does this colonial architecture does here. I mean, the Britishers were there. So that is a time we generally say no, because it's a very hardened style that we have created of our own, though I don't have a particular style and I'm very open to ideas. So that time you have to put the foot down, irrespective of you feeling bad that the project is good and you have to leave it. We have done that in the past. Otherwise, convincing client has not been such a problem with me.
Sunil sir?
My friends say that I have 2 bad qualities. One is I am quite impatient and I am quite adamant. I think this has helped me in my practice. I'm so adamant that I somehow convince my client to go for whatever we do. But what happens basically is that the clients who come to us, they know our style of work, they know our design philosophy. And if somebody comes and tells me that we want a house in postmodern style, we simply say no. Because it makes no sense in doing those Roman orders or capitals now, because every architecture has its own time, every time has its own architecture. We somehow convince them by giving a lot of examples or showing them something. And sometimes we simply say no, and we choose our clients basically. But even after that, not talking about, this is all talks are about individual houses, but when we work for the government projects, it's a different scenario. Like, it's not about changes, it's about additions, because most of the government projects have two clients, One is the user department and the other is the execution authority. Like for example, if you see collector office, the collector office is user department, but is executed by PWD. So they are again our clients. So it is mostly the additions, because the brief they themselves don't know in most of the government projects, and they go on adding as and sometimes the officers change and he comes and he adds something. So that's a big challenge that we have to do. And sometimes it happens that now I'll give the example of collector office. If you have seen this collector office, we have this huge plaza,
Yes.
and there are bridges which are spanning about 23 meters. Okay, so the chief engineer of PWD wanted us to have columns, 8 columns in between. Just imagine what would have happened if those 8 columns were there. But we were so adamant, we said no. The matter went to higher authorities, and we were up to giving up the project. But then it got settled. I said, when my structural designer has given structural guarantee to corporation, is this done? You got nothing to do with the structural stability, because we are responsible for that. And somehow we convince them, and today what you see, that huge plaza with those, is because of that. So we don't give up. We convince somehow our clients.
So individual clients, you scare them with your...
Not really scared. See, what happens is when they come to us, they know our style of work. So we simply tell them in the beginning, before we start designing, this is what we do. And if you have the similar taste, of course, we have to continue with that. But this is obviously, as Deepak said, that nowadays there are a lot of disturbances because of Pinterest. Even the tailor's old client's child, he will come see some Pinterest things and he will show us, then we want something like this. But then recently it happened in one of the project, and we simply told them that we cannot go ahead with some, because of some child's, imagery, because we have to look at practical things. Okay, and again, when you tell that I will do whatever you want, but you have to take complete responsibility of the aesthetics and the looks, then client takes it back and he withdraws. And when you give him the guarantee that do this, and I am sure this will be the best, this will be very good looking, then client gets convinced, I think.
Okay. At any given time, you all feel that you are speaking something about the client and you want it edited from the film, do let me know tomorrow. I'll charge a few dollars per cut, but on hindsight, if you think I shouldn't have said this, do let me know tomorrow. Okay, Deepak sir just touched a topic which, before going to the next question which I had planned, I would like to ask you, would you have preferred to be an architect in 2002 instead of 2022 because of all this, what you mentioned, the Pinterest, the influx of other things? Was it more peaceful in 2002 or 1999?
Recently, I wouldn't say I can't go back, but
Yeah, it's just hypothetical.
further, but we do discuss these things in office when we were young and not much of the work was there to show, and yet things sailed smoothly, and not much of a technology was there. And because we all have been on drawing boards, we worked on drawing boards and GT paper and whatever. So we do think things were simple, and the life today has become, that time also it was fast paced, today it's too fast. So somewhere I feel this AI has taken a control over everybody. I mean, in today's world, even if you decide to quit your cell phone, but you are surrounded by the people who have already accepted certain things. So we do feel sometimes it's better to be not knowing many things is good. Yes, things did happen nicely and much more smoothly, And sometimes, irrespective of having the best technology today, there's a nuisance. Like I always hate to be on WhatsApp group.
Sunil sir. Now this is one more question which I love to ask in my interviews, and because this brings out individual learnings again for everyone, all my viewers. And without modesty, please, I would request you all to reply this. What's your trick? What's your X factor? What makes your projects likable to your clients? Like, why are you successful, basically?
The first thing is that we make it likable to ourselves. That is the most important thing. But I think, yeah. See, what we have done right from the beginning. What I have done is that I have always seen to that my project is better than my previous project. That there's always an improvement, and it becomes likable. I won't be able to answer that why it becomes likable, but yes, I think we satisfy the functional aspect of that, and the client is happy. Maybe that's the reason. I won't be able to tell you.
Every time I ask this question, is the intention is maybe 4 qualities of successful architects come out for my audience to learn from, and me also to learn. That was the intent of behind this question. Deepak sir?
Likable because I think of a simple approach. They start visiting many houses and then they realize, okay, their house is simple one. We all love doing simple things, and I think then there's of course a natural light in whatever courtyards and things like that wherever possible. And I have always dealt my tight plots, and I have always got, whenever I was happy, like, okay, wow, I got a 30,000 square feet plot. Client wanted to build 40,000 square feet, which happened now also. I mean, it's ongoing project. So
The Dubai one.
yeah. So yeah. So likable, I think it's more of a thing that they take time to realize. Yeah.
Got it. Sandeep sir?
Well, I would look in this way, like as we move along this journey, like suppose movies hai, somebody may like an action movie, somebody may like an art film, somebody may like a comics type of movies. So you select where you want to go in this journey, everybody. So suppose I am a driver of a train and I am moving towards Delhi, and whatever platforms are crossing in it, only people who want to go to Delhi are going to try to sit in the train where I am trying to drive. In the process, they know that they also want to go to Delhi. This vehicle will help them to go to Delhi. So we are on the same page of at least what is the direction of where we are looking at. I am not going to get any client who wants to go to Bangalore, because this train is never going to go to Bangalore. So it's a direction of what type of work you follow. And as you move in your profession, slowly the people who like the taste, the typology, the spaces, they have visited your previous sites. So they have something that they carry, those experiential things of the past sites, or there is a repetition, like some clients, we are doing the 3rd house, 4th house, like after 10 years, 15 years, they come back to us. Because the same thing, whatever we were trying to look at it, somewhere those same energies vibrate, I would say. I think it's like a frequency. Those things will only go along with you, which will resonate with you. And slowly as you move ahead in your profession, this thing is very important. And those common things keep on, we keep on dashing with these type of clients new. But definitely something common in me and something common in what he aspires makes you work for him. And in this journey, slowly he also likes the thing. And by accident also somebody comes and he may also like it after it is complete. So it's most of like it's a journey where you are going along and people are trying to adjust. So it's we make a choice. I mean, the client makes a choice also towards this thing.
Okay, Sandeep sir. Ravi sir?
Yeah, while designing, we 3-4 aspects keep in mind. One is logic, appropriate logic, And the second thing is utilitarian value. We give importance to utilitarian value. Third thing is maintenance, because where the client's wife is always concerned, because they are the main people who are keeping the house very, or anything. So low maintenance or minimum maintenance, something like that. And economy also, because Indianness I think Indianness is economy first. Okay, ecology is there, but economy is also there. So that and over now 42 years of practice, so they are already filtered. The clients they know what I'm doing. They go visit my projects, and then they come, and then they agree. For initial stages, all these things happen. One client came, I want to build a house, and said, okay, what is your requirement? He took out a photo of a White House, US President's house. He said, I want the house like this, and his plot was 2,000 square feet. Okay. I said that what you need is a draftsman, not architect. But I'm not a draftsman. You go to some draftsman, he will exactly draw a house and give you all this. So sometimes I have to be very blunt. And one client came, I want some burj to my house, burj. I said, are you sitting on a throne inside? Will you have a talwar in your hand? Will you have a dhal, something? No, then you are using normal clothes, and why you want a burj to your house? So such things, and humorous, like I am explaining, don't put philosophy on their way, they don't understand philosophy, but काय म्हणतो ना, कडू गोळी असते ती थोडी गोड औषधातून दिल्यावर हे होते तसं. यू एक्सप्लेन देम ह्युमरसली, देन दे आर अग्रीड. And so always they filtered. And I have designed one house with interior 25 years. I went there again and I saw every color scheme, everything, whatever artifacts I have kept here, everything was same. I said, you have not changed this color. Yes, we tried, but we were not happy with that. So again we gave the same color. Then the artifacts, we sometimes put this thing here, then, but we feel very uncomfortable. So we put at the same place. Then I said, okay, that is the thing. That is the achievement, and that's how the client comes filtered. Sometimes they are very frank also. I have designed one hospital, and the client and his wife, as always, interfered and unnecessary changes he made. And then later they realized what they have done was wrong. But then when his friend's hospital was going to be built, he asked me to come, and he personally came with me, and we went to his friend's house and saw the plot. First thing, two things he said: whatever he is designing, don't change anything. आम्ही मूर्खपणा केलाय म्हणले, you don't do that, and whatever he's fees charging, you should give full fees. That is the achievement. No? What else you want?
I'll come to Deepak sir for the next question. Very honestly, did you ever feel like giving it up? Were you frustrated? You felt like just quitting this profession and starting something else?
Many times, honestly, many times. But that is a momentary feeling, and I try to uplift myself. And again, the next day, it does happen. That's very much the fact of my profession and myself.
Sunil sir, have you ever been frustrated with this profession and felt like giving up?
Actually, not with the profession, but because architecture is not just my profession, it's my hobby. So I never get tired of designing or doing architecture. But obviously, I was frustrated with one segment of our practice, that was public buildings. When we did our first project in Pune, that was VVIP circuit, which went on very smoothly. But when we were doing this collector office, we were really harassed by, many officers changed, then every time there's a new office or new requirement, a lot of the process was not that smooth. So we came back to the office. Our core team in the office, we decided not to work on government projects henceforth. Okay. Then I happened to meet Charles Correa, the legendary architect, who has done a lot of government projects, and there, in conversation with him, we realized that he made us realize that something like collector office, which is a monumental building, and all government projects are normally public buildings are monumental, and they are not going to be built by any private builder. Okay, and if you see that any architecture of any city is always governed by the architecture of the government buildings of the city. When you think about Chandigarh, which buildings you think about? When you think about even Bangalore, you think about which buildings or government projects. So again, we decided to continue with that segment, and now we have got ourselves used to that process, and it's part and parcel of the architectural practice when you do government buildings. Sandeep is laughing at that. Yeah, so that's okay now.
My compliments to you for the amazing structures which you've been crafting. We all are proud of what you're doing, sir. And yeah. Sandeep, sir.
No, I cannot say that I had ever thought of after we started the practice, yes, can there be any other option to look at? Because I think so time flew so fast, and like Deepak mentioned, yeah, frustrations can be due to something not happening according to the way you wanted it. Otherwise, no, I really don't know what I would do other than architecture if I try to look back also.
That's the second part of my question. The first part was, were you ever frustrated? Did you ever feel like giving it up?
Yeah, so the frustration part, giving up part, maybe for a moment for that specific aspect of the project. Like something is not going ahead, something is not moving ahead. We are trying to convince and it is not happening. So the frustration is momentarily and the subject wise. It's with respect to that specific thing that is we are addressing, not with the entire thing as a designer. No, not definitely not.
Ravi, sir.
I never thought of quitting architecture because architecture is my first love. The second love is my wife. Because when I was in 8th standard, at that time I decided to become an architect. So that is naturally first love. Okay, we are not married at that time, so that's why. And as he said that yes, creation is there and work satisfaction. That is the most thing you get, irrespective of whatever fees you get. But the work satisfaction, whichever on an open plot, nothing was there, and after 2 years you see beautiful and appreciated by people. So until my brain and hand works and client give me projects, I will not quit architecture. Wonderful. And it's like a music. We listen music and listen to Hemant Kumar's song, a very nice song, very touching to ear. And if you see the lyrics, only read the lyrics, there is nothing. But if you see the melody or listen the melody, that makes is a different thing. So I always tell my client that your requirements are the lyrics and we are the musician and we are giving the music to your, and that's how I want it to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ravi, sir, I'll come back to you for
Okay.
the next question. Do you think a good architect needs to strike a balance between being creative and being analytical?
We give importance first to economy, first to utility, first to maintenance, and the aesthetic is yes, because it is differs from person to person. But all these basic things has to be there, and if they are satisfied, then I can have my own style. He can have his own style, and it's like again I can like singers, no. He is a Muhammad Rafi, I am a Kishore Kumar, he is Talat Mahmood, and whichever singer you like, you go to that. Don't ask me to sing like a Talat Mahmood, na? That's what I.
Deepak sir was waiting what you would call him. Which singer. And you stopped at Sunil, sir. Sandeep, sir. what are your learnings from your ups and downs in the recent past, say last 4 years?
So, pandemic gave us an opportunity. First, definitely it was a shock. So, slow, all the project timelines had changed. Definitely, it in one way it affected the commercials of the office running and everything. But at the other side, it gave you more time due to the speed that was previously happening and the deliverables and the time. So it gave you more time to look at your own things in a retrospective way, to review back on the things. Otherwise, at a regular level, ups and downs, the most difficult thing, which is a bit personal to our office, I would say, is that we lost our partner in this 4-5 years. So that was a very difficult time for us to get out of that. We had been together for more years of a life than we were, whatever we are living separately. So this was the most difficult challenge for us, and we are still fighting with it, coming out of it. That was the there is no down to it. It's absolute abyss, it's absolute depth. Otherwise, things are always going on. Yeah.
Sunil sir, I have a different question for you. Your body of work, ever increasing projects, is there a legacy?
Not really, but my father was a building contractor. But in architecture, there's no legacy. I'm the first person to join architecture from my entire family.
Very straightforward. Deepak sir, I have a different question for you. Do you particularly dress up as an architect at work?
If I look at the books of FLW, everybody dressed up, so no, not really. I do believe in these denims, and most of the time it's seasonal clothes, nothing specific. Yeah.
Ravi sir, I have a different question for you. What is that one advice which you never got before you began your individual practice, which on hindsight you feel I should have been given this advice? Or in other words, what is that one thing which you learned the hard way through your experience in your design journey?
After so many years of practice, I will give you an advice. Keep 3C in your mind. 3C. I always tell in our sketching group also 3C. First thing, you should not copy anybody. Okay, you don't copy anybody. You do whatever you like. Whatever you feel good to you. Second thing, don't compare. Don't compare yourself. He is doing public building, he is doing interior, what I am doing. No, you let him do his way. You do whatever work you get. Good thing. Don't copy, don't compare, and don't criticize anybody.
Okay, we are going to end with a rapid fire.
I am now really getting scared now.
What is the single most important quality an architect must have according to you?
Sketching.
Sketching, visualizing it on the paper.
I would say designing, of course.
Patience.
What scares you the most at work?
Disagreement to my idea.
See, basically, I am afraid of others' buildings.
I went into Christo's cabin, because I relate much of my life with that office, so I tell, and a lot of things I learned there. So he told me a story that Vikram Sarabhai told to Christopher. That Christopher, do you know that I can afford every luxury in life. There's only one luxury that I can't afford, is getting angry at my own people. So he wanted to get angry at me. That's why he said this. So I am scared of myself also getting angry at my own people. That is something that I lose temper. So I generally get scared of that.
Which is the biggest lie you ever told to your client?
Many, but हाँ आपके बजट में हो जाएगा.
My God, biggest lie. Sometimes you have to, if they always call me, हो गया क्या design, हो गया क्या design, हो गया, चल रहा है, but nothing is there on the paper then.
No, I don't think so. lie ऐसा का विषय ना.
We'll complete your project in budget and in time. Time that happens.
I can see many people shaking their heads. Any favorite film dialogue or a famous line or a quote which has stayed in your mind?
आज उतनी भी नहीं है मायकाने में जितने हम छोड़ दिया करते थे पैमाने में.
क्या बात है.
I will suggest a movie for everybody. It's called Run Lola Run.
Yeah.
So I would like if everybody sees that movie, the whole perspective about looking at the things can change.
It's not a dialogue, but it's a written thing. I saw this movie couple of times, starting from my black and white TV at home. It's Ek Doctor Ki Maut is the movie. At the end, he writes like, so much to do, so little is done, so hurry up. That was one. The second, I think I will take as a fun. I let people guess what was the original dialogue. कितने आदमी थे? कितने आदमी थे? आर्किटेक्ट आस्किंग. दो सरकार, दो फ्लोरिंग वाले थे और 4 पीपी वाले, फिर भी सीलिंग खाली है. मुझे just as a fun.
And we end with Ravi sir.
I have 2 dialogues actually.
Yes.
One is non-filmy and one is filmy. One is by Rajesh Khanna. बाबू मोशाय जिंदगी बड़ी होनी चाहिए, लंबी नहीं. That is true to architecture also. And the second is recently very popular. काय AMOHA, काय program, काय आम्ही, बाकी सगळं ओके आहे.
Thank you so much. And on that note, a big round of applause for all four stalwarts. Thank you so much for sharing so candidly, so modestly, coming out and sharing with us. Thank you everyone.